Yedid nefesh avarachaman, mishoch avdecha el ritzoncha. Yedid nefesh avarachaman, mishoch avdecha el ritzona. Yarutz avda kamo ayal, ishtachave mul hadarach, ki yerav lo yedidutach, minofetzu fichol tam. Adonai ziv haolam, nafshi cholat ahavatach. Adonai ziv haolam, nafshi cholat ahavatach. Ana el na rafana la, biharod la noam zivach. Az titchazek v'titraper, haytalach shivchat olam. Vatik yehemuna, rachamecha, kusnal ben ohava, hizek kama nichsok nichsav, liro petiferet uzach, ana elai, eli machmad libi, pushana v'al titalam, yigahalena, fros chaviv alai, et sukat shelomah. Ta'ir eretz mikvotach, nagila v'nismecha bach, maherahu kiva moed, v'chaneni ki me'olam. Lechu neranana l'Adonai, nari alatzur yishenu, nikadma fana b'toda, bizmirod nari alo, nikadma fana b'toda, bizmirod nari alo. Ki al kadol. V'arbaim shana kut bador, v'yomar am to'el avavchem, v'hem lo yedu derachai, asher nishbati v'afi, im yavon el menuchati. Continue on page 13. Shir Adonai, Shir Chadash, Shir Adonai Kol Haaretz. Yismechu Hashamayim, Yismechu Hashamayim, Yismechu Hashamayim, V'tagel haaretz. Yiramayam, 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 Umlo, Yiramayam, 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 Umlo. Yalo Sadai V'kol Asher Bo. Az Yiranenu Kol Etzei Ya'ar. Lifnei Adonai Kiva Lishpot Haaretz. Yishpot Tevel V'tzedek. V'yamim Be'emunato. Adonai Malach Tagel Haaretz. Ohavei Adonai Asinu Ra. Shomer nefashot Hasidah Miad Rashaim Yad Sileim Or Zaru Alat Tzadik Yishrei Lev Simcha Simchu Tzadikim Badonai V'hodu Lezecher Malchot Sho Mizmor Shir Ladonai Shir Chadash Ki Niflot Asa. Livnei Adonai Kiva Lishpot Haaretz Yishpot Tevel Batzedek V'Amim B'Meisharim Adonai Malach Tagir Kazu Amin. Page 20. Romamu Adonai Eloheinu V'ishtachavu lahar kodsho Ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu. Turn to Mizmor LaDavid. No, do you want to co-lead this with me, or? Yeah, come on up. Ready? Mizmor LaDavid. Habu l'Adonai b'nei Elim. Habu l'Adonai kavod va'oz. Habu l'Adonai kavod shemo. Ishtachavu l'Adonai b'hadra kodesh. Kol Adonai al hamayim el hakavod yirim. Adonai, Adonai, Almayim Rabim. Kol Adonai Bakoach, Kol Adonai Behadar, Kol Adonai Shober Arazim, Vaishaber Adonai et Arzei Halvanon. Vayarkiden Kemo Egel Livanon. B'Sirion, Kamo ben Reimim. Kol Adonai chotzev lavotesh, Kol Adonai yachel Adonai midbar kadesh, Kol Adonai yacholel ayelot, Vayechesof ye'arot, Uchechalo kulo, Omer kavod. Adonai lamabul yashav, Vayeshev Adonai melech leolam. Adonai oz leyamo yitain, Adonai yivarech et amo v'shalom. Etamo v'shalom. Thank you. Shabbat shalom again to all of you. And we turn to Lechadodi on page 23. Lechadodi likrat kala. B'nei Shabbat Kabbalat lechadodi likrat kala. B'nei Shabbat Kabbalat shamur v'zachor b'dibor echad ishmiyanu ela miyuchad Adonai echad u'shemo echad l'shem. Utiferet v'helitchila lechadodi likrat kala b'nei Shabbat nikabela mikdash melech ir melucha kumisei mitocha hafecha ravlach eshevet b'emek habecha Uyachamo Alaichem La Lechadodi Likrakala B'nei Shabbat Nikabala. In the middle of page 6. Hitori kiva orekumi uri shir daberi kavod Adonai alayich nigla lechadodi likrat kala p'nei Shabbat nikabala. V'chadodi likrat kala p'nei Shabbat nikabala. V'chadodi likrat kala p'nei Shabbat nikabala. Lo tevoshi v'lo tikalmi ma tishtochachi u'ma te'emi. Bacheresu ani ami benibnatair altila lechadodi likrat kala b'nei Shabbat nikabala. Lechadodi likrat kala b'nei Shabbat nikabala. Yamin small tifrotzi bet Adonai taritzi. Ayarish ben partzi ben ismecha ben nagila lechadodi likrat kala b'nei Shabbat nikabala. Lechadodi likrat kala b'nei Shabbat nikabala. We rise and we face toward the door. Boi v'shalom ateret bala gam b'simcha u'sohala toch emunei am segula. Boi kala lechadodi likrat kala p'nei Shabbat nikabala. Lechadodi likrat kala p'nei Shabbat nikabala. You may be seated. Welcome to the Chadaros. We go to page 27. Tov lahodol Adonai, tov lahodol Adonai, ulezamer l'shimcha elyon. Tov lahodol Adonai, tov lahodol Adonai, ulezamer l'shimcha elyon. Lehagid baboker hasdecha ve'emunatecha baleilot. Lehagid baboker hasdecha ve'emunatecha baleilot. Alei asur ve'alei navel ve'alei gayon bechinor. Alei asur ve'alei navel, alei gayon bechinor. Tzadik katahama yifrach. Keres balvanon yiske shetulin bebeit Adonai b'chatzrod Eloheinu yafrichun od yenuvim b'seiva d'sheni mevrananimu v'hagi Yashar Adonai, Suri, Suri, below Avlatabo. Please turn to 39A. We do not. No, we do. I'm sorry. We do have a meeting. Please rise 39A for the Baruch Hu. Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorach. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach le'olam va'ed. You may be seated. Baruch Ata Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bidvaro ma'ariv ha'ravim. Ma'avir yom u'mevi layla. Umavdil ben yom uven layla. Adonai Sabaoth Shemo. El chai v'kayam tamidim l'chaleinu le'olam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Hamari Baravi. To page 40. Avat Olam Beit Yisrael Amcha Habta Torah u'mitzvot Hukim u'mishpatim Otanu limadata Al ken Adonai Eloheinu B'shochbeinu kumeinu Nasiach b'chukecha B'divrei L'nismach b'divrei Toratecha U'v'mitzvotecha Le'olam va'ed Ki heima chayenu v'yorech yameinu uvehen negei yom v'layla v'avatcha atzaser memenu l'olamim baruch atah Adonai ohev amo Yisrael. Aviva, you want to do Shema? V'ahavta? V'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levavcha b'chol nafshecha b'chol meodecha v'ayu ha'devarim ha'ele asher anochi mitzavcha hayom al levavecha v'shinantam levanecha v'dibartavam v'shivtecha b'veitecha u'vletecha b'derech u'shofecha kumecha Ukshartam liot al yadecha, v'ayu latotafot beinecha, uktatam amazuzot betecha v'isharecha. Continue on 2042. Adonai Elohechem emet. We continue on page 44. Umalchuto ratzon kiblu alechem Moshe Bnei Israel lachanu shira b'simcha rabba ve'amru kulam mi chamocha be'elim Adonai mi chamocha nedar ba'kodesh Nora Tihilot, Osefele, Umalchutacha Rauvanecha, Bokeyam Lifnei Moshe, Ze'eli Anu V'Amru, Adonai Yimloch, Leolam Vayed, V'nemar Kifad Adonai Yaakov, Ugalo Miyad Chazak Mimenu, Baruch Atah Adonai, Gal Yisrael, Hashkiveinu, Adonai Elohim Shalom. Page 45. Hashkiveinu Adonai. Shmor Seitenu Voin L'chaim L'Shalom Me'atabi Ad Olam Ufros Aleinu Sukat Shalomecha Baruch Atah Adonai Hapore Sukat Shalom Aleinu V'Al Kol Amo Yisrael Hapore Sukat Shalom Aleinu V'Al Kol Amo Yisrael V'Al Yerushalayim. Now we come to Vishamru Bnai Israel on page 46, and it's traditional to stand. Vishamru Bnai Israel et HaShabbat Lasot et HaShabbat L'dorotam B'rit Olam. Vishamru Bnei Yisrael et HaShabbat Lasot et HaShabbat L'dorotam B'rit Olam. B'nei u'b'nei Yisrael od hi le'olam, od hi le'olam, od hi le'olam. Vishamru B'nei Yisrael et HaShabbat Lasot et HaShabbat L'dorotam B'rit Olam. Sheshet Yamim Asa Adonai et HaShamayim ve'et ha'aretz Vishamru B'nei Yisrael et HaShabbat Lasot et HaShabbat L'dorotam B'rit Olam. Ubeyom hashvi Shabbat vayinafash, Shabbat vayinafash, Shabbat vayinafash. Vishamru B'nei Yisrael et HaShabbat Lasot et HaShabbat L'dorotam B'rit Olam. Vishamru Okay. And now I'm going to echo. Yit kadal v'kadash shemei rabba.
Do you want me to mute?
Maybe I'm leaving Malchutei. V'chayechon yom mechon u'chayedechol beit Yisrael. Ba'agala uvisman ka'arivimaru. Amen. Yeshmei rabba mevorach. Le'olam le'olmei almaya. Yitbarach, Yishtabach, Yitbar, Yitraman, Yitnaseh, Yitadar, Yitaleh, Yitalal, Shmei Kedusha, B'rihu, Leila, Mikol Berchata, B'shirata, Tush B'chata, B'nechemata, Dami, Ran B'alma, B'maru, Amen. We continue now with the Amidah, which we do individually, pages 47 through 52. Let's turn now to page 53 for the symbolic repetition of the Amidah. We rise again. Vayechulu hashamayim v'haaretz v'chol sevam vayechal Elohim b'yom hashvi melachto asher asa vayishbot b'yom hashvi mikol melachto asher asa vayivarech Elohim et yom hashvi v'kadesh oto kivo Shabbat mikol melachto asher bara Elohim lasot Baruch Ata Adonai Eloheinu Elohei Avotenu Elohei Avraham Elohei Yitzhak Elohei Yaakov Elohei Sarah Elohei Rivka Elohei Rachel Elohei Leah Ha'el HaGadol HaGibur VaNorah El Elyon Konesh Shemayim V'Aretz Magen Avot B'Dvaro Mechayei Metim B'Ma'amaro Hayel HaKadosh Shein Kamohu Hameniach Le'amo B'Yom Shabbat Kadsho Kivam Ratza Le'aniach Lahem Lefanav Navo B'Yirav HaFachad V'Nodeh Lishmo B'Chol Yom Tamid Me'on HaBrachot El HaHodaot Adon HaShalom Mikadesh HaShabbat V'Varech Shvi Umeniach biktusha la'amedu shnei oneg zecher l'maaseh v'reishi. Be seated. Eloheinu v'Elohei avotenu b'tzei v'imnuchatenu k'adshenu b'mitzvotecha v'tenhelkenu b'toratecha sahabenu mituvecha v'samchenu b'shuatecha V'taher libeinu l'avdecha be'emet Hanchilenu Adonai Eloheinu V'yava uvratzon Shabbat kodshecha V'yanuchu v'ha Yisrael Mikadeshei shemecha Baruch atah Adonai Mikadesh HaShabbat Yikara v'yikara shemei Rabbah v'yalmad divrach yirtei v'yamlich malchutei v'chayichon yamechon v'chayed kol v'Yisrael v'galav v'zman kari v'imeru Amen Yehi shmei Rabbah mevorach v'yamei amayayi yiparach yishtabach v'pa'arit ramami nasei tedar v'talev v'talai shmei kudasha leila min kol birchata v'shirata tushbachata v'nechamata damiram v'yalma V'imeru Tikabel Solohon Avahun Kol Yisrael Kadam Avahun Yishmaya V'imeru Amen Yehei Shlama Rabba Min Shemai V'chaim Aleinu V'al Kol Yisrael V'imeru Oseh Shalom V'Ramav Hu Yaseh Shalom Aleinu V'al Kol Yisrael V'al Kol Shvei Tevel V'imeru Amen. Before we do Kiddush, and actually, you want to do Kiddush? Can you do that? Great. Turn to page 101. Let's do a little bit of Tfilah study. I want to look at Ma Tovu because it's in our portion this week. And why don't we have someone read in the English on the right-hand side, and we can learn a little bit about what the Ma Tovu. How about Melissa? Okay. Numbers. Page 101. Yeah.
As for me, your great kindness I entered prayers are this is faith. God, your loving Son, responds to me.
Now read on the right. On the right-hand side. These words. So that's the main point, is that if you read the portion, you have a story about a pagan seer who's hired by the Moabite king to curse Israel, and his curses are known to be efficacious. But through a complex series of incidents, Bilam is forced to utter the words of God. He cannot curse Israel, unable to curse Israel. So that's where Matovu comes in, is one of the words of praise he gives to Israel is Matovu Alecha Yaakov, Mishkanotecha Yisrael. And what's interesting is the later history is that the rabbis put the Matovu from Scripture in the very beginning of services in the morning. Why would that be? Why would we put Matovu as the first thing in the morning? What do you like at first thing in the morning? Are you wide awake? You are, Aviva. Well, Aviva has a special distinction of being wide awake in the mornings. But the reason that it's put in the morning is that people are not necessarily at their best in the morning, and that the Siddur puts words of praise in our mouth from no one other than Bilam, who had intended to curse Israel, but came out with words of prayer and words of praise. So that's the origin of at least why Matovu is the very beginning. It's sung at other times as well, but it generally is rendered as what was meant to be a curse turns out to be a praise. And why don't you read on, just so we learn a little bit more, who had many rabbinic readings.
Understood the bones of Jacob, the relations of the sanctuaries of Israel, the first process of study, the prayer process.
Right.
Interestingly, we have word non-Jew here we use to praise the synagogue. This verse was added to the service of the notations. European word for words of it warranted a similarly introduction to our worship of the sovereign.
Yeah, so another explanation for Matovu. But I think the main reason for Matovu is what I suggested to you. Just to reinforce that, read the next one. As for me, Ba'ani, 3 of the verses. Yeah. 3 of the verses. Go ahead. Just below.
Worshiper enters the synagogue as an infant, then joins the community. The first verse mentions bowing with the sanctuary. Some people bow in the direction of the heart.
Okay, so basically what the prayer does, it starts in first person singular, which is very unusual for Jewish prayers. I mean, it is quoting scripture, but it's to put that in the individual, in the first person singular, is to suggest that we have to start with ourselves and then expand to be with the hearts of others. So that's just a nice teaching, a little brief teaching about Matovu. And now I'm going to call on Noah to come and do the Kiddush. Oh, there it is. And that's on page 50. Yeah, 55. We all rise.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei bari hagafen.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu, b'shabbat kodsho b'ahava u'ratzon hinchilanu, zikaron l'maaseh v'reishit, ki hu yom techila l'mikra'ei kodesh, zecher l'tziyat Mitzrayim, ki vanu v'acharta, tirtanu kidashta, Mikol ha'amim, v'shabbat kodshcha, v'yahava uvratzon, hinchaltanu, Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh haShabbat.
Amen. L'chaim. Please remain standing for Aleinu. On the next page, 56. Aleinu l'shabeach l'adon hakol, l'tet gula yotzer breshit, shelo asanu kogoye aratzot, velo samanu kimishpachot adama, shelo sam helkenu kahem v'gor aleinu kechol hamonam, v'anachnu korim, umishtachavim umodim, Lifnei melech malchei hamlachim akadosh baruch hu, shehu noteh shamayim v'yosed haaretz, u'moshe v'yakaro b'shamayim mima'al, u'shchinatu zo v'gavhei meromim, hu Eloheinu einod, emelkeinu efes ulato, Kakatu betorato, biadata yom bahashivota, hashivota elevavecha. Ki Adonai hua Elohim, bashamayim mimal, biaretz, bitachad, einod, al ken the Kabbalat. Page 57. Yakatu b'toratech Adonai imloch le'elam ba'ed v'ne'emar v'haya Adonai l'melech al kol haaretz Bayom hahu yeh Adonai echad, u'shamo echad. Before I read the names, I want to also acknowledge the tragedy in Florida that took place, I guess, early this morning. It happens that the building which collapsed is also very close to several shuls, and there was a considerable number of families, Jewish families, in the building. Of course, that we mourn everyone, but it's particularly hard to acknowledge the loss in such a tragedy. So our hearts go out to the survivors and to the whole to the community in general. I also want to acknowledge our loved ones who we remember this weekend: Charles Buckhalter, David Chodorow, Max Flatow, Philip Friedman, Esperanza Garcia, Louis Rader, Jay Hertz, Michael Macklin, Rose Finkelstein, Andrew Madak, Bessie Slonim, Perry Scorton, Ralph Yannick. Is there anyone who is observing mourners Kaddish? Yes. Acknowledge them as well. So those are our mourners. Do you have are you mourning someone? Oh, well, welcome. Yeah. We turn to the mourners Kaddish on page 58. Yikadal v'ikadash shemei rabbah. V'yalmad divrach yirteh v'yamlich malchuteh. Chayechon yamechon chayei dechol beit Yisrael. V'agalau v'zman kari v'imru amen. Yeh shmei rabbah mevorach le'olam olmei almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach. V'pa'ar v'yitromam. V'yitnaseh v'yitadar. V'yitaleh v'yitalal. Shmei dekucha brihu. Leila min kol berchata, shirata, tushbechata v'nechamata, tamiran bi'alma v'imru amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chaim oleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom b'romav, hu yaseh shalom, oleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Shabbat shalom, everyone. I want to acknowledge that this is Pride Shabbat. It's also Pride Week, and that I think it's important to acknowledge also because the conservative movement has made a lot of progress in acknowledging LBG, help me, LBG. BQ individuals, and also welcome them to our congregation. And it's a big stride forward in the evolution of Jewish law that we acknowledge and celebrate Pride Shabbat. There are other we welcome. Do you want to introduce yourself? Nice. What, Maya is your name? Chaya. Welcome. Are you new to Albuquerque or are you passing through? Nice set. Where are you from? New York City. We've heard of that place. Yeah, it's great. Welcome to Albuquerque. So tomorrow's services are at 9:30 in the morning, and we'll, as usual, we'll be the portion is Balak, and I'll be exploring the portion with you tomorrow. So with that, we also welcome the people who are online. You want to introduce yourselves? No. I see. It's Aaron, right? Aaron Macklin.
No, Mark.
Mark Macklin. I'm sorry, Mark and Jessica and. Susie, and I see the Azoses. And
Yeah.
behind the screen is Wizard of Oz. So you can mask him if you want. So how about we do a Hamamei? What would you like to end on? That's the question. What would you like to end on, Aviva? She's thinking.
Well, she's thinking, I got a shout out to Brana.
Brana, yes, Brana from Philadelphia. Welcome. Yeah, we have a lot of people from the introduction class this year. That's great. Okay. And Kello, well, that's really, I'd like to, but it's more associated with Shabbat morning. Is that okay? Adon Olam. Okay, we had a request for Adon Olam. Let's do that. That's 2:11. Adon Olam Asher Malach B'terem Kol Yitzir Nivra Le'et Nasa B'hefso Kol Azai Melech Shemo Nikra, Azai Melech Shemo Nikra, V'yacharei Kiklo Takol, Levado Yimloch Nora, V'hu Haya, V'hu Hove, V'hu Yeh B'tifara, V'hu Yeh B'tifara, Uhu echad v'ein sheni, le'ham shilo lahachbira, B'li Reshit, B'li Tachlit, V'lo ha'oz v'ha'misra, V'lo ha'oz v'ha'misra, Hu Eli b'chai go'ali, V'sur chevli be'etzara, V'hu nisi umanosli, Menat kosi beyom ekra, Menat kosi beyom ekra, Biyado avkid ruchi, Biyed ishan biyira, Bimruchi gaviyati, Adonai li belo ira, Adonai li belo ira. Shabbat Shalom and welcome back, the Chadaros. Nice to see you in shul in person. And next week we have a big Shabbat weekend with Noah's Bar Mitzvah. So looking forward to that as well. So Shabbat Shalom and welcome, Maya.